Okay, Blades, time for some weapon technique. I know I'm doing this on a gun, but basically it's the same idea. So the neck here where I'm spinning is where the main part of the curve is for the drop spin, and my swivel is that little, I called it a hinge on Saturday, that part in the front at towards the end of the nose where you would do your toss from. So just remember that those are the parts, and other than that, it's pretty much the same technique. Okay, we're going to start with drop spins and how you should practice doing drop spins as a group. So you're going to start at right flat, right? And make sure that when you start at right flat, you guys aren't like here, because this isn't what a strong weapon line should be. You should like be up and straight. Like, you should see the difference in my body between like here and here, because this looks like I'm ready to spin. So this elbow should be tucked into your arm like that, right, straight out, and then this elbow should be like up over top of your blade. So you should go, if you're taking it as a group, you go to the and count just like you would take a flag. So you would go 5, 6, dut, 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 and, right? This arm comes like, push it straight down. This arm is this is gonna go flat here to a vertical position, and you're gonna take that until you guys go dut, 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 down. So that's how you would count it. It was dut, 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 down. So you would go 5, 6, dut, 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 down. All right. Once you all get that together, you would take one spin. You would go 5, 6, dut, 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 down, up, down. Right. And you would come down back to this position. This is going to be your count every time you do a spin. This is the position you're trying to hit in this hand. So no matter how many spins you're doing, like if you're taking 2, 5, 6, dut, 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 down, up, 1, 2, right? You're going to stop here. So make sure you're taking like a couple at a time, and everybody is doing this motion together. All right. So that's something to talk about, is like some of you spin out on this angle here, like that. This is a result of keeping like your wrist pushed out when you spin. So like, I know it's really exaggerated looking, but you actually do that. So to think about this, you have to keep your wrist like perfectly straight, like when you're trying to spin, so that like every time you do it, it's coming perfectly straight. And that's going to come with time and a lot of repetitions of this motion, and like really watching out with your wrist. So when you're doing your drop spins, that's fine. You're just spinning and you're going along with it. And when you want to stop, you have to really, really make it look good. So see, like there's no movement after I grab it. See, this hand, your goal is for your pinky to be on the edge or over the edge. So like this, and then this hand has to be right on the curvy part where you would go to toss. So when you do this, make sure it's like centered in your body, and this elbow is now boxed out over top. The rule for weapons, especially rifle, not as much with saber, but like with rifle and blade, whatever hand is on top of the gun, that elbow has to be boxed up and over, so you always look strong. Okay, so that's what it would look like, and then you would do the same idea with like a left-handed spin like that. I don't know how left-handed spins work for blade, but if you could figure it out, that would be cool. So with tosses, a lot of what is being said about your tossing is about your catching. So I'm going to start with a single right now. So you want to be at like this shoulder hip, right? So this hand is going to be like, try to make this elbow like parallel. This hand is like strong. Make sure you like squeeze with everything you have in your arms when you're trying to throw. So you're going to squeeze it, and you have to push down like that. That's how your toss is going to get its motion. You're going to push as hard as you can down with your right hand, like that. And what determines your height and like the number of your toss, the rotation, is where your left hand is going to be when you try to release it. So like a single is like here, because it's super low and you don't have to worry about it. So like, see, something that you should notice about the way I catch my toss is how it doesn't move when I'm done, right? And my left arm is boxed over the tip, and it's right on the tip, and like everything is strong. And that's because when I catch it, I don't just like let it fall into my hands. I just make it as strong as I can, and as soon as I get my hands on the gun, I'm pulling it and squeezing it with everything I have to make sure it stops flat. And that's something you really have to work on, is making sure that your blade is as flat as possible when you catch it. Okay, so when I asked you guys where your release point for your triple was, you guys said your triple release point is like at your face, and that's honestly like really, really high for a triple. I was taught that a triple is here, and I think the reason that your triples are so high is because you don't know how to use your right hand when you're releasing, so you end up trying to spin entirely out of your left hand, which is really, really hard with a rifle or a blade because of the way it's like heavier. It's harder to spin with just one hand. So that's why it's so high and so lofty, and it doesn't spin very fast. So you should bring it down. So your triple should be like that. Ugh, that was a rough toss, but like, right? So just keep it like here-ish. My last point I'm going to make is about the train track situation. I told you guys on Saturday that when you release, it's this finger and this finger that tell you where your toss is going to go. And you can tell where your toss is going to go if you leave your hand up while your toss is in the air. So, say I'm trying to toss and I'm like, oh my god, it went that way. That's because when I released, I left my hand like this, which I would see if I left my hand up during my release. And if my toss goes that way, like so if you let it go that way, it's because your hand was like that when you tried to release. It also is an indication on whether you're releasing early or late. So if your hand is this way and your toss goes over to this side, it means that you're releasing too early. Keep your hand on the gun a little bit longer to keep it to get it to the straight. And if you're releasing this way, it means you're releasing late. So take your hand off of it just like a split second before to get it straight up in the air. That's really all I have to say, guys.